You guys actually have a very special privilege. We try to get Congressman Rogers here to speak to the scholars, and if he's not able to be here, one of the things he does is always records a message. But guess what? You guys get lucky and you have him in person here this morning, so what an absolute treat. Would you thank him for being here this morning? I know you have his bio in your binder, but let me just go over a few highlights really quickly. Congressman Rogers was elected to Congress in 1980, took office in 1981, and since that time, he's championed a lot of causes that affect the region where each of you live, southern and eastern Kentucky, and we've had some challenges over the year. So what he has done is create organizations to try to help address some of those challenges. Forward in the Fifth for education, the Pride Initiative for our environmental problems, SCED for job creation. We have a tourism initiative that's raising the awareness of tourism properties throughout our region. The Unite program that is absolutely killing our, they're saving our kids from this devastating drug problem that we have throughout our region. And then the National Institute of Hometown Security. And he has created all those. He was the driving vision behind the creation of the Center for Rural Development. So he has done a great deal of work supporting his people, improving the quality of life of the residents of southern and eastern Kentucky in his time in Congress. He is now elevated to one of the top positions in the entire country as Appropriations Chair, and we're thrilled that he's here with us today, our Congressman Hal Rogers.
Lonnie, thank you for the nice introduction. Good morning to you. Welcome to the center and welcome to the Rogers Scholars Program. You are a very select group of people. You individually are very select because the Rogers Scholars Program is designed to try to bring the best young people in our region together, let them get to know each other, and talk about improving our region and coming back to our region after you get your college degree. When I grew up your age in Wayne County, there were just no opportunities. There were no jobs to be had after you graduated from high school, so you were forced to leave to go somewhere else to get a job, in my case Cincinnati. But we've exported over the generations of time, we've exported practically all of our young people to places like Cleveland and Detroit and Pittsburgh and Houston, so on, in order for them to find a way to make a living. And so my goal, my adult goal since I was your age, was to try to find ways to bring jobs to our region so that we could hold you people here after we educate you. If we could keep just one generation of high school graduates in our hometowns, we could change the face of southern and eastern Kentucky. In fact, that's taking place. Towns like Somerset and Williamsburg and Corbin and Pikeville and Prestonsburg and the like have changed dramatically since you were born. And we're seeing great improvements take place. My goal with you is to take the lid off your head and think outside of the box. I want you to think thoughts that you've never thought before about how you can help your fellow human being in your community and in our region. What can you do to help build up your community, your county, and therefore your region? That's what Rogers Scholars is all about. Number two, you will make friends in here that you will cherish the rest of your life. We've learned that from other Rogers Scholars that go back, how many years now? 14 years. This program is as old as you are. And we have graduates of the program come back frequently, and they have reunions. And you had thought you were amongst long-lost friends, and they are. So this is a program where you will learn a lot of new people, people that you like, people like you. You all have a lot of things in common, even though you come from different regions of our part of the state. You are a lot alike, and you'll become fast friends. And we want you to come back from time to time and tell us what's going on in your life. This program also offers you a lot of opportunity to advance yourself. We now have, is it 14 colleges and universities? 15 colleges and universities that are offering you a scholarship to go to their school. They're competing for you, as a matter of fact. Those 15 schools are competing to get you to attend their campus, which is great. But you'll have a choice. So this program means a lot for you personally, and that's what it was intended to do. I want to encourage you to look at your material. I think they have the Congressional Awards material. I want to encourage you to enter that contest, that program, because last year, it's a national competition. Last year, there was no one from our part of the country that was in that program. It means a trip to Washington, D.C. It means an exciting adventure. It also means a great thing on your record. So I want to encourage you to enter the Congressional Awards program, every one of you. And I'd like to see some of you make that trip to D.C. then to represent me and us in the national competition. Lastly, let me say I'm so proud of this program. The program was started by the Center 14 years ago. And it's grown and expanded and changed over the years. But the basic thing is still there. And that is, we want the up-and-coming, bright, young leaders to be involved together, talking about how they and we can improve our region. And we want to instill in you the motivation to think about improving your community. Now, I hear people say, well, if they would just build this road, or if they would just tear down that building, or if they would just put a water line over here, or if they would just do so and so and so and so and so. If they would. It's you and me. It's our turn. It's our responsibility. It's on our shoulders. It's on your shoulders. So I don't want to hear if they would just do so and so. I want to hear you say, I'm going to do so and so. And you can. I'm living proof of that. I came up in a rural part of Wayne County. We lived 7 miles from a paved road. We had our water was a well in the yard. We had outdoor bathrooms. At one point early in my life, we had no electricity. We used oil lamps. So I'm living proof that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Now, you don't have those kinds of conditions to deal with now. I hope maybe one or two of you do. But for the most part, you have been given a good head start. It's up to you to make something of that, and I think you will. So I'm proud of you. Number one, have fun doing this. This will be fun. And you'll make friends you'll treasure forever. And we want you to come back and be a part of this program and help people like yourselves next year and the next year and the next year see possibilities. So you are our pride and joy. So good luck to you, and feel a part of this family. We are a part of a family here, and we want you to continue to feel that way. And I want you to know that your region is looking for you to make the progress that they know has to come. So I'm talking to the future leadership of this region, Lonnie, and I like what I see.
Congressman, before they ask some questions, there is a group I'd like to introduce to you that's mixed in with our scholars today. Dr. Peter Hackford in the back of the room with Berea College has 20 of his students from the entrepreneurship or the public good program at Berea College that are interspersed throughout here that come down to work with our scholars on entrepreneurship type programs. So huge, huge thank you to Dr. Hackford and the entrepreneurship and public good students that are here.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anybody have a question I could try to answer?
Yeah, who's got questions?
What was your major in college? What did you study?
Well, I started out, it changed. I remember the time when my sole ambition was to be a cowboy. That was because all the movies at the theater were Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and cowboy movies. And then it was baseball. But when I entered college, I didn't know what to do, so I enrolled in chemistry. I don't know why. Didn't last long. I got tired of the math. Switched to journalism and came within a few hours of a degree in journalism, but then I enrolled in law school, and we had UK had a combined 3-year program. So I got an undergraduate degree with an emphasis on journalism, and then my law degree 3 years later. But in between all of that, I went 1 year to Western, got bored with school, and went back and worked in radio, which I had done a little before college, and was working at a small radio station in Franklin, North Carolina, in the mountains. I was 19 years old or so. Had always had a thing about rockets and all of that. Well, that was in 1957, October 1957. The Russians orbited the world's first satellite, Sputnik, which really shook up this country. We thought we were the preeminent science and mathematics leader technicians of the world, and we were. And all of a sudden, and we'd been trying to orbit a satellite unsuccessfully, and here the Russians come along and orbit a satellite, which radically changed the country. The doctor remembers probably that. Well, that motivated a lot of people, including me. I wanted to be a part of that space program, so I quit my job in North Carolina, came back to UK, and enrolled in physics, which, as you know, is one of the toughest things in the world. A lot of math. And the first year, it was all math. I told them, I want to shoot rockets. They say, you got to go to math school. So I studied math, got bored with math and dropped out, and then went on to what to do now. So I've been all over the lot, and nothing wrong with that. So just bear that in mind as you decide what you want to do. You're going to try a few things that don't work, and you'll hit something. So don't worry about being undecided. Yeah.
My name is Faith Collin. I'm from Pulaski County. How did you become interested in politics?
I'm sorry.
How did you become interested in politics?
How did I become interested in politics? Well, in law, being a lawyer is pretty close to politics. You're dealing with writing laws, interpreting laws, and the like. You're trying cases before the public, so it's sort of a public thing anyway, practicing law. And then, you know, people say, why don't you run for county attorney or whatever? And that began to move, and all of a sudden I found myself running for county attorney of Pulaski County, and was elected Commonwealth's attorney, which is the higher court prosecutor. And you know, people say, why don't you manage my campaign for Secretary of State? Or then I managed a couple of campaigns for governor, and managed President Ford's campaign in Kentucky in '76, and and then later on, George Bush, the first, campaigned for president in '88 in Kentucky. Just active in politics. Once you start sliding down that slippery slope, it gets going faster and faster and faster, and before you know it, you're fully involved. And it was maybe innocent that I sort of fell into politics. But it's a noble profession. I know politicians get a lot of heat, and they get criticized a lot. And a lot of them deserve it, including me. But it's a noble profession because it's an effort to try to uplift people's lives and make a better place. And that sort of fits my attitude about life.
Lorraine Coffee from Menifee County.
I can't hear you, ma'am.
Lorraine Coffee from Menifee. How do you think, or what would you do to help create jobs and keep people in the region?
Question is, what would I do to create jobs? Well, we got an organization in this building that we started in 1986 called Southern and Eastern Kentucky Economic Development Council. Up until that time, each county had a group that would work to recruit jobs and businesses. Some did, some didn't, but individually, just small outfits. I decided in '86 to try to see if there was a way to create a regional approach, to combine the talents of all the counties to see if we could reach a larger audience and entice them to come here to bring their factory or their business. And so we started this regional approach that's now headquartered here in the center. And so far, Greg Jones and that organization have brought around, 10,000 jobs to our region. Now, that's pretty good considering the circumstances that we were in. But now with no longer the need to have a large tract of land for a large factory, no need for an airport, no need for a large highway or a barge line or rail shipping and the like, because most jobs now are in the information factory, if you will, call centers, processing centers, where you get your raw material by satellite or the net. You process it, and you ship out the product by the same token, by the net. You don't have to have a highway or a train or a barge. And that opens up our region for the first time to world competition. Up until now, we didn't have all those assets you had to bring a factory in. Now, all you need are good people, very conscientious, hardworking, work ethically fixed people. And that's what we have. We have people that are dedicated to finding work where they live here in order not to have to move to Cincinnati. And that's what we're attracting. Williamsburg, for example, over here has the State Department there, processing visas. If you call about a visa from Belgium, you'll be connected to Williamsburg, Kentucky. And there's a sort of a slight southern accent to what they talk about. Corbin makes the cards that all people visiting our country must have, the so-called green card. It's now a computer card, highly sophisticated. Cannot be duplicated in any way. It's being made right here. And I could go on. There's all sorts of those jobs that are now opening up for us. And I think that's our future because we have the talented people and we have people motivated to work and be a good employee because they want to stay here and keep their job and stay here.
Allison Webb, Lawrence County. I know earlier that you said that you've considered various jobs throughout your life. Was it even in your wildest dreams when you were our age to enter politics?
No, it wasn't. I have to be honest with you. I never dreamt of it until I guess until college, late in college, and frankly, after I began practicing law here in Somerset. It just wasn't in my. I'd never thought about it. Certain politicians, were alluring. President John F. Kennedy, for example, a very dashing, young, charismatic figure, We had been used to old people like me, old people like Eisenhower and Dulles and people like that. Then all of a sudden, here's this young, dashing 40-year-old or 42-year-old guy, and he sort of excited a lot of people my age at that time. And so individuals will impact you. There were others, of course, but I just used him as an example. There are people in political life that you believe in, that you will want to follow or emulate them, and that's good.
I'm Jonathan Hubbard from Knox County, and I was wondering, would you ever like to?
Hold it close.
Would you ever consider running for governor?
Well, I've thought about it several times. In fact, last time and the time before last, the party was wanting me to run for governor, and I gave it really serious thought for a long time, twice. And I think I probably could have won. But I did not have the fire in the belly to do that. To run for governor, you've got to want it worse than anything in your life, because it's a gruel. I ran for lieutenant governor in 1979, and it's a grueling thing statewide to run for months upon months upon months, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You don't even know where you are from time to time. So it is a real grueling thing to go through. But I just did not have the fire in my gut to do that. I was on a pretty good track in the U.S. House, seniority-wise, and I was on the Appropriations Committee where I wanted to be and where I could do some real good for our state and our region, and I decided to stay there and make my career in Congress. But being governor of Kentucky is a great honor, and would have been a great, great honor. I don't doubt that at all. But there are very severe limitations. Kentucky does not have much money, and you can't do much without money in government. There are a lot of roads I'd like to build. There's a lot of factories I'd like to secure. There's a lot of water lines I'd like to see laying, and so on and so forth. But if you don't have the funds with which to do those things, it could be a very disappointing place to be, sitting in that chair without anything to help with. So, made my choice.
Larry Collins from Morgan County. In your opinion, what would you consider to be your greatest achievement?
I'm looking at it. I think these young people realizing their future without having to leave home to do it. I've seen 15 groups like this now, once a year, come through here. And I've just seen remarkable things happen from those young people. Things they go on to do that make me proud to have been a very, very tiny part of seeing them grow and advance. So I think keeping a crop of brilliant young people home after they've become educated formally is the best thing that I've seen.
I love that answer too, by the way. Anybody else?
Hello, I'm Jonas Allen from Beattyville, Kentucky. I'm here with Brea College and EPG.
Speak up.
I'm here with Brea College and
Yeah.
EPG.
Yeah.
My question was, I was wondering if there are any plans in Congress or otherwise to do something about mountaintop removal and its effects on the environment and the health of the people around it.
Question is there anything in Congress that's afoot to do anything about mountaintop removal? That is, of course, a state matter. The state of Kentucky will, and or West Virginia and the other states where those mines are located. That's their decision, along with the Office of Surface Mining in D.C. But the practice now is lawful.
Alex Trumley from Whitley County. What is it like to hold the appropriations chair?
What's it like to hold the appropriations chair? Well, it's something I've sort of dreamt of for a long time. I got on the committee after I was just in Congress 2 years. So I've been on there 29 years now. And at that time, there were like 60 members. And being the newest one, and you meet in a room this size with tables sort of somewhat like this, and it's sort of helter-skelter, and I thought how disorganized this thing seems to be and how raucous it is, and the debate was wild and wide open. And I looked around the room and I thought to myself, none of these people are ever going to die or retire or do something else, so I'm stuck at the end of this thing for the rest of my life. Of course, that changes. I mean, it's amazing how rapid the turnover in Congress really is, including that committee. So this past January, when I was selected by leadership to take on the chair of that committee, I was very thrilled, pleased, scared, marveling at how quickly things change, seniority-wise. But it's a real challenge because at the very first, this is the first time ever that the Appropriations Committee is on the task of cutting spending. That committee, as you know, decides how every penny of the U.S. Treasury is spent. But now, with the austerity program that we're into, with the nation's debt at $14.5 trillion and the annual deficit of $1.5 trillion, huge numbers, we had to start cutting spending, and that's what the committee now is doing. We cut out $40 billion worth of spending so far this year, and for next year, 2012, which starts in October, we're going to cut another $31 billion. So it is a challenge, a real challenge, because this is completely new territory for the Appropriations Committee and the Congress, for that matter. Thanks for asking.